Okay, so this was actually brought up by a newer member of the As You Hustle Facebook group. So shout outs to you, Camille. But a lot of people have questions around, well, what about resumes? How do I set one up? How do I create one? If I have to go back and revamp. I've been in the classroom for 15 plus years. I haven't had to touch my resume in over a decade or whatever the case may be. One thing you can do, Indeed is a pretty popular site. Everybody uses it for job searches and things like that. But one of the features I like about Indeed is that you can actually populate a resume directly from here through creating your profile and just inputting your information, selecting the skills and things like that. It's actually pretty simple wizard that they walk you through, so that way you don't actually have to kind of guess what things to put on it. It'll generate one for you. So let's take a look at it. I'm going to go ahead and start with a brand new account. So it will bring me to this. Of course, if you have a resume, you can upload it into here and it'll populate and make things pretty simple, but you can also just go through the process of creating one. And what this will do is, again, whenever you go to apply for jobs directly through Indeed, it'll already have a resume available on file. And also when employers are looking for potential candidates, these are going to be most likely public if you agree to it, which means that they can find you and you don't necessarily have to seek them out. And you'll start actually getting contacted through like your messages and things like right here. But let's create the resume. I'm gonna use As You Hustle as my name because that's the email I'm using. You can put in a phone number if you like. They can add this directly to your resume as well. Your address. The only thing that they require is city and state. Then your education. So if you have your bachelor's, your master's, PhD, whatever the case may be, they require that. And you can input the actual information. So if it's curriculum instruction, business, whatever your major was, that you can add it. Of course, you want to add as much information as possible for the purposes of creating the resume, number one, but then also in your job search. You want employers to seek you out. You want them to have access to solid and up-to-date information. So again, we can go in, add all of this information in this review. If it's all good, then you can continue on and then put in your relevant work experience. So I know a lot of people are going to have this one. And again, you don't have to put this information in, but you can, and it will help later on. Descriptions, keep them kind of brief, just so you don't make your resume too long. I've heard that ideally a 1-page resume, 1 to 2-page resume is what is going to be most effective. I can't necessarily speak directly to that. I know that mine is actually a little bit longer. It might be like 3 pages, but it's because I haven't trimmed it in a while, and it encompasses even all of my work from before I was in education, working in science. One thing I mentioned I kind of glossed over is you can add another work experience. Many people are going to have multiple jobs, multiple experiences that you want to highlight within your resume, so continue to add those things, but the theme is going to be the same in terms of the company, location, dates, and description. This is the one that I really like a lot. You can go through and actually select skills. With this, they're going to give you some of these just based on what you input for your experience. So they're going to actually populate some popular skills that go along with those particular job titles that you input. So of course for teaching, you'll have these types of things, but if you get a little bit more specific, particular subject area or content, math, ELA, science, so on and so forth. If you have another background, if you've done things with nonprofit, Peace Corps work, or even in the business world, the tech industry, even customer service, if you add any of those things here, they'll populate a bunch. And then they said that they recommend 6 skills, but you can add as many as you want. Again, this stuff is going to be populated directly onto your resume, so the skills that you have represented on this are going to be relevant to the jobs that you're going to be seeking, but then also they're just reflective of you and your overall potential. You want to look good on paper first, because that's going to be the thing that essentially gets you in the door for people to actually even want to talk to you. So you can go through and select all your skills. And if there's anything missing here that they didn't populate, then you can type things into here. But as you select these, it will actually populate more. So you can see basically when I click one, I basically just get a bunch more that pop up here. Just be mindful of really getting to the meat of what it is that you are looking for in terms of a position, and also the things that you can speak directly to from your experience with situations whenever it comes time for you to sit down with a recruiter or have that actual interview. Once you've done all these things, then you can click save. On the skills front, again, one thing I didn't mention was really highlighting leadership and situations and experiences where you are kind of a self-starter, especially if you're looking into more remote work fields like ed tech or anything that's more kind of entrepreneurial, where you're going to be doing project-based work and you won't necessarily have a manager checking up on you or peeking over your shoulder, because they basically just need to know that you are going to be able to operate independently and get things done, not only just accurately, but also efficiently in a time frame that's going to be allotted. Then we get to the point of certifications and licenses. Of course, for a lot of educators, you're probably going to have a teaching license. You may even have some type of certificate to go along with that license. Some people might be certified in early childhood or elementary ed, but you also might be licensed to teach science or have something more relevant to diversity basis, such as special education or English language learners. So you can add all those things here. And then once you're finished, it's going to populate this for you. So in essence, this is what your resume is going to look like. So again, you can make it public so that they can find you in terms of the employers, or you can make it private. You would only then have your resume sent out to the positions and job titles that you select. So if you select public, then you get to a point here where they basically ask you, what is your preference for the jobs that you're looking for? So that way, those will be the potential employers that are going to reach out to you and contact you. And those will also be the things that Indeed will send directly to your email, with listings directly to your email that they think, based on your preferences and based on your skill set and whatever you put in your profile, would actually fit for what you're trying to do. Then you can go in and view your profile, and you'll have it available here. So you can view your resume. You can download it. And if you like, they have professionals on Indeed who actually can go in and review. And here are basically the fees that would be incurred with the resume support that Indeed offers. That initial kind of walkthrough that I did with just going through each component of that wizard is going to be a great starting point, because it's going to generate a basic idea of how you want to appear on paper as it relates to the jobs that you are seeking. So once you've gone through that, of course, and let's say that you want to just go ahead and download your resume, it's going to populate a nice little PDF for you, and you can open that up and take a look at what it looks like. Very basic, very general, but then you can actually look into things like templates on Google. I know that I've seen in the Microsoft Office suite, particularly Microsoft Word, that there are actually templates available for resumes. So you can basically take this information, drop it into one of those templates for aesthetic purposes if you want to make it look a little bit more enticing, or add some color. I know some people add a headshot image. This is basically just a quick setup of a resume through Indeed using all of the pre-populated skills and information that they allow you to select within the wizard. I hope this was helpful. Happy job hunting.